We're back. We never fell out of the Garden of Eden because fact is we never left. It is only, mind you, the perception that has changed that has created the fall. In depth we can go deeper and deeper of how that took place, which brings me to the main topic of this video, which is called reality distortion. I learned a great deal watching the Steve Jobs movie, the second movie they made. I'm meaning not the one with Ashton Kutcher, the other one without Ashton Kutcher. It's that guy that plays young Magneto in the X-Men. Phenomenal actor, phenomenal acting, amazing stuff. Yeah, what can I say? Life's a journey. It's an adventure. It's like, so I do use these camera effects to give you a metaphor of where life can take you, and I paint a picture like Picasso-like to explain what that'll do, and to my people that listen to what I have to say or have to share, from the bottom of the pit to the mountaintop. The changes, the dark night of the soul, all the good things that you can hear about or want to hear about because you carried it in your consciousness. And sometimes people like me are these particles. Like, I'm the imaginary human, okay? I'm an imaginarian, if you want to put it this way. The concept comes from how do you say? The imaginary cells in the butterfly are the ones that are responsible for the transformation of that butterfly. How does that take place from the caterpillar to the butterfly? The analogy or the idea or the picture that was painted was as follows. If they've checked the cells of the caterpillar, there are certain cells that nobody can say what they are and what their function is. Listen to Dr. Bruce Lipton and other scientists. It's 50 deep, and I'm not going to name all names because that defeats the purpose of me. If I spend all day bringing you the evidence or those who have made claims, we're wasting time here. What I want to explain to you, the wonderful picture that's to be painted is, in the caterpillar, there are cells that they call the imaginary cells. And they are responsible to imagine another gene code. So we say they are channeling new gene codes to create the bodies that's to be created. So they use their imagination to imagine something that wasn't in that system before. And I represent such a cell. I'm a magi. I'm Magi Nation. Imagination. I'm Magi Nation. I'm representing the nations of Magi's. The Bible talks about the 144,000 chosen ones. Let's say in this cell organism, without trying to be over, under, or sideways, or above, or below anybody, just as a picture, let's imagine there are 144,000 cells in a collective assigned to inspire the other cells to become like them. But there will be pioneers. There always are pioneers. The first guys that built the plane were laughed at, the Wright brothers. A plane that was heavier than air. It flew. Tesla, talking about free energy, was laughed at. These are these imaginary cells, and it doesn't matter what race. We have to correct the history. Certain heroes, we don't know what they look like or what they used to look like. Zeus certainly didn't look like we portray him today. Jesus didn't look like we did portray him today. The Last Supper, the way the painting was done, is read the story how I think Leonardo da Vinci got the brother and family and friends to set up a display and paint that. That means the Last Supper never took place that way. Things have to be put in perspective. You have to understand, even we have 470 popular religions that define their concept of God. Does that make that God? Or does that separate you from what actually the ultimate image of you is? It might be, It might be. And if you time travel, or if you have had the capacity, you'd know. And on a side note, with the new X-Files, light ships or interdimensional craft never blow up cars when they abduct. That's BS, okay? And yes, we believe there are humans in the mix with the hybridization and manipulation, but the divine craft trying to actually save our ass, not blow us up, not blow shit up, not destroy stuff, or come in when evidence needs to be removed. There's always, you got to know this, is always the other side. And that's what I call the distortion wave. Topic, pardon for the wind. There's a lot of wind going on. Don't like it so much. I'm trying to stay out of the era of where the wind hits, so I'm trying to go a little bit lower here so we don't get hit so much. Yeah, that's the reality distortion. That's the topic of this program. I might talk till the sun goes over the hill. Right now the sun is behind the hill, so we're about to witness sunrise. Sun Ra is. Yeah, I feel phenomenal. I have to tell you, the experience, usually when I left the place where I was born and grew up, I had like a little heartache or heartbreak, or I would miss it. And that I realized was the matrix is reactive. And bear with me, all this has to do with reality distortion. So when you grow up in a certain matrix, you have certain energy patterns that you learn in life, even with bacterial infection, that you are used to. So what they do is they link you to that reality, or to that pattern, or to that matrix. And you have to take a leap here. Ooh, leap of faith is that you have these tiny hooks in you. Now imagine the scene of Gilligan's Island, where Gilligan is on the ground. I think that was his name, if I'm not mistaken. And all of these little dudes have put ropes around the guy and hooked the guy to the ground. But guess what? There's a certain reality that you're subject to when your friends and family, emotional hooks, you're rigged to that reality. So the mission to find oneself, see, as we approach the woods here, it's like part of the subconscious, and define yourself, as in defining yourself, you want to unrig yourself. You want to get out of the distortion field. You want to not be, how do you say, subject to somebody hooking you to a reality grid that's no longer essential for your learning. But you have to develop the spiritual maturity to understand that this is not essential. See how I'm streaming this here in Sedona. My streaming capacity is 400% up. Like I can do a video every freaking day and invent a new gadget every day. In Frankfurt, it was so dense that I had to pull myself together in meditation to really link with upstairs. Also, a storyline on a side note, a good friend of mine told me that when she went on vacation from Germany to the sea, to the beach, her dreams went crazy. Her astral projection went crazy. She was out there and exploring worlds and was happy and was in balance. And she was all in a dream world and all connecting and understanding herself in great ways. And when she came back to Germany, not to make places darker than they already are, but face the facts, party people. She came back and she lost the capacity to dream. She lost, how do you say, the skill set to really get into dream world and astrally project, and lost that. And when she went back on vacation, she kind of owned it again. So she realized she had to leave. So her mission was to basically sell her apartment and move to an island and move to where she would find peace. And that's what I recommend. If you are in a place or in a spot where you think this is not the place, leave. Find modalities, equip yourself, get in gear, and get it moving. I did, and I have no regrets. Now I'm realizing, as in reality distortion, there are places that are less holy than others, having to do with how do you connect with nature? How do you feel waking up? Do you want to get up in the morning when the sun rises? Or do you have a place where you don't want to get up? Do you have a place where all your life you were out of sync with? Which is what I come to the conclusion, which is also shocking, that Yeah, my ancestors were Apache, as in Navajo, as in Dene, also Afro-American, also German, also French Huguenot. But what was the dominant site in me is where your cells will call you. But how are you in connection with yourself and cells is determined by how you're living and the allowance of that to come to you. I'll do a video on my Stasi transmissions to prove that we have transmissions coming in, and there's things that are applicable, things that need to be built, things that need to be put into physical form with physical effects. No more voodoo, no more esoteric theory of a concept that you lean on, but you have actually no proof of concept that this actually works. An idea in the head might work, but do you have an idea in your head, in your theta state, combining with the delta state, which has to do with manifesting into three-dimensional reality? Yes, five-dimensional reality is here, meaning the accessibility to higher knowledge can be acquired. But do you have the capacity to manifest? That has to do with what? Reality distortion. And pardon for the wind. It's a bit tough down here, so I'm trying to stay in the woods until the wind is over. You know, I want to give you more light and more insight of my surrounding environment. When the wind stops, we can do that, so you can hear me clearly. So, yeah, it's just amazing to be here, and amazing to share that with you. So, reality distortion. What do I mean by that? What do I mean by reality? Let me see if I can hang this up here. Get a little bit more flexible here. If that even works. Looks like it. Should it drop, then pardon me, or I'll edit it out. So, reality distortion also having to do with you're perceiving reality the way you want to perceive it. That might not match the universal collective. And there's two sides to the coin. There's the universal collective, where you would have something in truth that has to do with earth, and it is where it is for everybody, as in the divine blueprint. Meaning Mount Sinai is where Mount Sinai is. Mount Zion is where the original Mount Zion is, not where you want it to be. Because I've witnessed that we've gained knowledge, and throughout the ages, the danger is you gain absolute knowledge. It can corrupt you because you think you're the Messiah, or you're the next bringer of the new. Then Tesla could be the new Messiah. The guy from the Keshe Foundation could be the new Messiah. I could be the new Messiah. For all I care, if for any new idea and new thought that you have, you could be the new Messiah. Knowledge of God. Also know the word Jesus didn't exist before the 1600s because the letter J wasn't even invented. So we got to be careful with labels and tags. Again, reality distortion. Yeshua, and back then, when you go to the Terra papers, the Eyasu tribe. And Eyasu means the ancient nation that had the knowledge of Ea. And who's Ea? The brother of Enlil, the Lord of the Word, the Lord of the Command. First there was the Word, and the Word was with God. Well, that was Enlil back then. And Enki is Ea. And Ea is the one that actually tries to wake us up and keeps sending the message over and over and over and over and over. My brother is trying to run this here, trying to control this here, and I want to tell you, you're interstellar and you're free. And when you understand who you are with your soul matrix, you're free to go. With vessel or without vessel. Fully conscious, never ever being born with amnesia. No more wiping in the tunnel of the white light and being recycled. None of that stuff anymore. And this is what I want for my people. To be free, to remember who we are, to get out of the void of forgetfulness. As they say, when people grow old, they go senile. What's the major program that's running the society? Avoid and deny. So does the government. Well, you voted for the government. Now, you didn't really vote for that government anymore, and that's for all the nations in all the worlds. Now they tell you, we are still in power because we make it believe that you're still with us, when we are no longer with that. We are about to be peaceful and free minds, getting you out of reality distortion. Meaning in the perception is, let's say something happened, somebody transmits that storyline, the press rearranges that, puts a distortion to that, and check the dictionary for the word distortion, meaning there is a real image. Let's say you see my hand in gloves, and then there's somebody who's describing that. The difference between seeing me real and somebody describing, that's how the distortion begins. But when the distortion becomes manipulation, then you have a severely reality distortion. Well, that gives input to nanobacterial influence, meaning coming in, affecting your body, and manipulating you into an avoid and denial character until you become so viral in your programming that you're so asleep that you can't understand that you're an interstellar being. You are from another realm of existence, that Earth can be flat, Earth can be round. It's a matter of perception. You make it real, reality makes it real. Reality concepts were shown in The Matrix Part 1. When Neo falls off the building, comes back into his actual body, I call it the God body, and his nose is bleeding, and he says, well, I thought it's a simulation. And then Morpheus says, well, the mind makes it real. If you repeat a process in your mind long enough, it will become real. Mission is now to understand what's really real. What helps me to understand what reality is, as the sun comes in, is to really allow myself to feel what's really there. So in the woods, out in the wild, I realized that none of the tchotchkes out here, as in distractions, the sweets, the this, the that, the sex, the drugs, the alcohol, not blaming that. These are all modalities for you to find out where you are with your consciousness. When you get out of that and you start your own pilgrimage, and I must say, it was, you can say 5.5 years I haven't been back to Germany. So what a ride that was for me. What a recalibration, and what a contrast and a reset took place in me, where I'm like, some certain lines that I was running while I was here are no longer here. Certain people that I had problems with or disliked for betrayal are no longer connected to me. I remember, and I don't have to go back and trust that, but I have grown into more of a solid foundation of, okay, more grounding, more earthing necessary to understand this is negative, this is positive. Now find the middle ground to recalibrate yourself. And again, reality distortion means not seeing the real picture, put it this way. Really denying to yourself what's really in front of you. Whether it is that you see an interdimensional craft or a government craft. When you know yourself, know thyself. You have awareness. And when you have awareness, no longer protection is needed. You are protection. Awareness is protection. Knowing the things, learning to precog, learning to tap into the matrix, it makes you even foresee what's coming towards you. And when you have an inner standing, overstanding, outer standing, understanding of what makes you, nobody can come with BS to you. Yes, you have an open heart. Yes, we have a, how do you say, cosmic, childish, naive sense of way of approaching things, how we let life come to us. How life, how do you say, teaches us. We have to have an open mind to see the things as they are. So, I read this case of this guy who invented a motorbike that ran on water, and the patent industry said that we can't give you a patent because what you're doing doesn't exist, but yet we have physical evidence that the thing is running. So the guy is driving with this, can't get a patent. So I say, why have a patent industry that is not equipped with enough knowledge to give you even that patent, even though you have quantifiable evidence, in the position to give you a patent in the first place? I say, no, you're not. Sorry. So you now have to talk to, how do you say, qualified personnel that actually is in resonance with what you're creating and what your creation is. And when you find those, you get out of the reality distortion program. What is a reality distortion program? What does that even mean, you know? What does that create? Reality distortion puts you First of all, asleep. It puts you to slumber. Let's walk into the sunlight. Now we'll have a lot of wind action going on. Hopefully, sound-wise, I can manage that. In the future, I promise I'll save my money to get a clip-on microphone so we don't have these, how do you say, nature interferences. Even though the wind is good, the wind of change, we need that. That is mandatory for us to understand where we're going, that things never stay the same. So in this, a little brisk. So yeah, let's walk into the sun. I want to show you a little bit of light in this situation here. We're getting out of the crux of the unknown, which is what people have naturally fear, that they don't know, you know, what's coming, what's it going to be. See, if the Mayas created a calendar that has nothing to do with holy books written way after that, it is the native knowledge that we have to get back to the original storyline of what is, and reconnect with that and recalibrate and understand that, I guess, all of your ancestors are of color. Doesn't matter if it's lighter or darker. All of them. And it has nothing to do with racism. It's to set the record straight. All of you. We are all mixed. All of us. There is no pure breed. That's an illusion. It doesn't exist. It's like saying that the rock out here in nature exists only out of one element. Everything is a mixture of something that represents something. It's the distortion illusion that was created, is that they're trying to tell you it's this or that. When you do your own investigation to find out what's what, then you realize what reality is. It's felt. It's you having to realize, what does this feel like? What does this feel like to others? What is it that others report to you how it feels for me? And if that feeling and that picture can be shared in a universal mind, then we can talk about oneness. Everybody talks about all is one and one is all. If you have, let's say, a team of 20 people and they don't act as one, they're not all is one and one is all. Then everybody does what they want to do, and that's called free radicals. Well, is that good for your system, for your body? It's not. Understand, overstand, understand, outerstand. I always have to say that. You know, you are looking at what is in front of you. Sometimes you can see it clearly. Sometimes it's less clear. That's why right now you see me kind of shadowy. The sunlight's behind me. I'm change that in a minute. Like this. You always gotta look at, how you say, the evidence. And the evidence will show you clearly. Let's see if we can reach this by foot, if that's possible, what we are dealing with. And that's reality. And when we get out of the distortion field, we get into what's real for everybody, then we can all agree on one modality of how reality is to be perceived. Yes, individually, it's different for you, me, you, male, female. But I'm gonna keep on walking to give you a little bit of perspective of the beauty of where I'm at, so you can see the land. You see this? Can you see this? Beautiful. All over the place. It's beauty. There's the sun. It's feeling good about yourself, about what you do, what can be accomplished. Sorry for the wind. I'm trying to really stay out of that wind factor, but this is it. I'll want to close this chapter by going to the mountaintop with you, so you can take that walk with me. And kind of like coming to the end of my stream. You can have a little adventure with me, see where I roam, where I do my things. Hopefully I don't see no tourists, because they always are so nosy when somebody does something actually. And I see nobody out here actually with a camera doing anything. You know, this is the deal, the great deal of deals. Yeah, looks like the path is clear. Let's walk it up a little bit. It's a nice, entertaining video for you to see. Yeah. Let's go up there. See, one trail all the way up. So I see, when I realized in Germany, which I find phenomenal, is I slept long. My mother always said, "You're lazy, you're not trying to get up." And I didn't want to get up. Get on the bus in the morning. You know, we have 4 weeks of summer, as in clear skies, maximum. Europe is pretty overcasty and cold. It's wet. Here it's dry. Around this time we already have 15 degrees Celsius, 72 degrees Fahrenheit. Different. Every winter my nose was running. Patterns, family patterns. You can call it family attack patterns. I'm right, you're wrong. My world, your world. And now you have to gotta breathe a little bit because the air is thinner here, 4,000 miles above sea level. So I'm still adjusting. They say you need 78 hours. So far I'm doing pretty good. Yeah, if you want to visit, come to this place and visit this place on your own. It's a pilgrimage. It's not reached easy. Sedona, backwards, are nodes, vortex points, vortex spots. Look at this. Can you believe it? I got my own. I've created my own movie. I created my own reality. My distortion was in Germany. I was always depressed. I always worked better at night times. And then I took, how do you say, the evidence was, why is it that your entire life you feel like you're jet lag? You don't want to get up in the morning. You wake up to a different time. To compensate, certain people in certain areas smoke to stay high. Pardon for the wind. Hopefully I'm loud enough. And to conclude this mountain, so I'm gonna sit down a little bit so the wind doesn't hit us that hard. Is I recalculated back that I'm, how do you say, up a certain time and I'm asleep a certain time when I grew up in Germany. Map that with the timeline of Sedona, and when I got up in Germany, like night times, this is when it's daytime over here. It's when you wake up. And when I felt sleepy, is when it's nighttime over here. So could it be, by cellular memory of my ancestors that grew up in these lands, this is Apache grounds, I have a different clock as in circadian rhythms? Is there a book on that? Is there a theory? I strongly feel that your rhythm will tell you where you actually need to be. And some of us are born in a place that we must leave by destiny. And I know many of you had that you never stay in the same place. That it's like this weird interdimensional monopoly. To toss the angels out all over the place, all races, fallen ones, everything, mix it all up, end up all here, find your way home. That's how I feel. And right now, this morning, I feel great. I feel phenomenal. I feel excellent. So find out if there's something in your life where you're saying that's not right. Or you talk to people and they say this and this, and then you repeat and you say, well, you said this and this and this, remember? And they say, I never said such thing. This is where reality distortion begins. That somebody is in the illusionary mind and they're stuck in a lie that they're given to themselves by perceiving it wrong. And in Buddhism they say there is no wrong. Well, put it in perspective. If you understand something of imbalance, then you understand balance. So there is a right and wrong. Learn to accept all things. Learn not to deny or say this doesn't exist, or sex is bad, or you're born in sin. All of these things, you're separating yourself from source. If you're not in tune with yourself, from sexual to spiritual, all levels in touch and in tune, how can you be in contact? How can you be in contact with self? How can you expect contact to come in and talk to you if you have never received love on a level as it comes from the heavens? And when we mean as above, so below, it means as heaven has it in the divine plan, as in the divine architecture, so shall be in the body. So who is God? You. You are the embodiment of source energy, source field in the flesh. And that is magical. That is powerful. That is, I feel like I have a second chance in life. So I say to you, and even those that used to be suicidal or had suicidal thoughts, say yes to life, say yes to exploration, say yes to expansion. Get out of demonstrations. What are you doing right now? Do you have an Etsy store? Do you have a YouTube channel? Do you have anything that you want to share in your car, on a train, on your way to work? Something you want to show to the world and say, this is me. This is how I'm living life. Learn me because I'm a part of you. And when I can see that, and I'm not saying I'm watching 1 million videos a day or read 1 trillion books, but I'm doing the best that I can to really understand all there is to know and understand. Right now you have one skin to explore this. Many lifetimes in forgetfulness, but now try to remember Iasu. Iasu. To remember where you came from, why you came here, and what your mission is. Like a Starseed Protocol, Starseed Chronicle, Starseed Scrolls, or missions, whatever it is that you came here to do. And they get pulled from the wind. So I'm doing my best to keep it low. See, I'm so caught in the sun coming up. So much energy here. It's just, it's amazing. I'm gonna take the hat off. This is for you. This is for none other than you. I love you so much. Sticking with me, checking my stores, this stuff, experiencing, having success, being patient, contacting me when there's things in need or anything, you know, you contact me in a contact form. No Bible text, please keep it brief. I'll do the best that I can to reply for as long as I have the capacity to reply. It's a little bit of wind, so bear with me. I'll close this chapter with God loves you always, with everything that you are, beyond any religio or belief system, because truth doesn't require that. The wind blows, no book decides which direction. My voice sounds in the area, nobody stops that right now, except technology, or, I don't know, an earthquake, which does not take place. So let's face reality as reality is, and perceive it as such, and know that you can get up and make a change, and you don't have to run for president. Make a change